5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom! Hey everybody, it's Rael Andrews and welcome to Modern Day Champions. I have some exciting guests tonight. You all know that I'm a fishing freak, for lack of better words. I love fishing. That is my biggest passion. I could do it all day long, all night, go weeks, not eat any of that. And today we have the team of Wesley Strader and Stephanie Strader. Now, Wesley is a rock star. He's been fishing the FLW tour for over 20 years. He's made well over $1 million. He has 40 top 10 finishes, so that's huge. I mean, I don't know if you know fishing, but my fishing peeps that are watching know that is really, really something to be proud of. But without further ado, I want to bring on Wesley and Stephanie. Wesley, Stephanie, hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. So listen, I really appreciate you for taking the time out, between, I don't know, you probably could be out hunting or fishing or doing something like that.
But it's dark. We don't hunt in the dark around here anymore.
Oh, you don't go night hunting?
We don't hunt in the dark anymore.
Okay.
Kind of illegal.
So Wesley, listen, I want to start with, with the Modern Day Champions, what I started doing is just, I started interviewing people that, had a dream and just didn't have a dream. They took action, they made it happen, and, they've been very successful giving back with it and everything. And, I do it in my passions, which is in the acting world or, entrepreneurial world or fishing is, and, I'm really excited. You're actually my first fishing interview, and I've got some champions that I've got lined up to interview, but take us back, Wesley. Take us back from when you first knew you wanted to fish. I mean, how it came about, and how you got from there to here.
Well, it all started as a kid. I just had a passion for the outdoors, and my dad and my grandfather, they all had a passion for the outdoors, and that's where I got the love of it from. But I've always been intrigued with I guess my real passion has been bass fishing. I mean, I always like just, going fishing and catching things. But I guess about the time I got in like middle school, the bass bug got me. I always like just catching any kind of fish I could catch, but the bass bug got me. And, I started, back in the day on TNN, you'd see the Bassmasters and Bob Cobb. And that's really what I saw an opportunity there. If you worked really hard and, you set goals and you tried to achieve them, that you could actually make a living fishing. And, what better way to make a living than doing something that you just absolutely love? I mean, it's a no-brainer. So, as a time from I was a little kid, my dad worked construction. He'd be gone, during the week. Well, we had I'm just a quick story. I had a 14-foot John boat. Never had a motor on it until I'd say it was 12 or 13, and me and my brother we'd have to paddle the boat around, and that's how I learned to fish. Bass fish was in that John boat. I'd paddle all around the cove. We lived just across the street from the lake, and we paddled around. Needless to say, there's been plenty of arguments, in that boat of who was going to paddle and who was going to fish. So, windy days, it wasn't very good between the Strader brothers and the old John boats, So, and that's just, and I credit that a lot to my success in my career is, learning how to fish out of that John boat gave me the I pretty much fished every single day of my life when I was a kid, no matter if it was winter, summer, spring. I fished every day. I hunted a little bit too, but that's how I learned to bass fish. And, with Dad's help, and, he was a real good bass fisherman at the time back in his day, which he still is. He thinks he's better than he is right now, but back in the day, he was a really good bass fisherman. So, and he was in clubs and stuff, and that just kind of got me, into it. And when I was in college, a friend or a older friend of mine, he was fishing it was a Reader Chevrolet championship, and he had to have an observer to take with him in their championship. They had to bring somebody with them so they could sit in the back of another guy's boat, so nobody would cheat or anything like that. And that's when the fire really got lit. I actually saw what it was that I wanted to do and how to go about doing it. And, with the help of, my wife and my family, I've just been able to pretty much been able to live out a dream that, it's a fairy book story. It's a story, you couldn't have wrote it out and had any better, so. That's how it all came about.
Well, and you know, I mean, it really is, for those of us that love to fish, it is really a storybook story that you have. But you know, I mean, you just said it yourself, with the support of your family and specifically your wife. And you know, I'm going to jump over to Stephanie for a sec, and that's why I wanted you to be together. Now, Stephanie, why don't you take us back a little bit? I guess, you know, like, how did you meet? You know, tell us a little bit about you, because you are a very pivotal part of the Strader team, and I love that. So let's let the people out there know a little bit about who Stephanie is, you know, rather than just the name standing behind Wesley Strader.
Well, let's see, we met in high school. It was my junior year, Wesley's senior year.
She couldn't get enough of me. Look here.
Oh, he was the principal's pet, is what he was. He worked in the office. Of course, they had a basketball there. Principal was in charge of that, I guess. So anyhow, Wesley kind of, you know. Well, anyhow, he showed me to my classes, showed me to us, and I ended up just living right down the street from him. So I went there. I just thought he was a prize. Chased after him for how many years? 3.
34. Oh my God.
He had nothing to do with me. But his mama told
crazy. Ain't no way I'm marrying that girl.
and let's see, what, 21 years later?
On our way, right before I stepped up to the altar, she looked at me. She said, "I told you so." And I went, "Shut up."
Really? Nice.
So I've always been a little headstrong, determined. Wesley's always been more laid back. So I think we balance each other. But, you know, he decided he was going to fish. I mean, I come from old school. You work 5 days a week. You get a paycheck on Friday. That's the way my grandfather always did, worked at the K-25 plant. So when Wesley told me that he was going to fish professionally, I'm not going to lie, I thought we were going to starve to death. And I guess he's proved me wrong. But, you know, I had a lot to learn. I didn't know a lot about the fishing world, you know. I mean, all I seen was a little bit on television. And it's been eye-opening. It has showed me that if you want something, it's achievable. It's all about the work you put into it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, you got to feel good about what you do. And I'm happy with where we're at. And, you know, 2 years ago, you know, Wesley's always, you know, fished the FLW tour and had a team deal. And, you know, it was an unfortunate event, but, you know, we no longer had that. You know, and at that time, that was hard because, you know, here we are, December, season begins in January, you know, and we had a short amount of time to put things together. So, you know, Wes was working on some things and it didn't pan out. And I've been in retail and other business myself. And I told him, I said, if you'll just go fish and let me have the business in, it'll be fine, I promise you. And 2 years later, here we are. Things are great. I'm real happy with where things are going. And it's been fun. It's, you know, a lot of couples can't work together. And I'm not going to lie, I was worried about that.
We just barely work together. Just barely. Just barely.
He gets about a 10-hour break on the tour while he's in the boat.
Yeah,
so
the only break I get is while I'm fishing. And even I don't get a break then because I get texts and phone calls. Hey, are you posting social media? But it's okay.
You got to keep him in line.
That's awesome.
See, I don't just work for Wesley. I work for his sponsors. So, you know, being kind of the mediator, you got to make sure their products are being marketed because there's certain things that, you know, these sponsors need. You know, they've got to have their products moving off the shelves. So if you're going to endorse a product, you know, that's part of your job. You know, there's a lot more to this than just fishing. And it's a business. And it has to work for both parties involved. And that's what I'm trying to do, is kind of be the mediator. See that the marketing is getting done. Seeing the social media is being put out daily. You know, so it's been fun. I enjoy it. And that's where we are today. And here we are 2 weeks out. And we head to Florida, to the Harris Chain, for the Southern Bass Open. I'll be there with my camera, my iPad, getting Wesley's morning interviews.
And her list.
Yeah, and my list.
Her list.
Well,
But I keep him working, keep him going.
And I love, what I love, we were talking the other day, Stephanie, and what I love about that is because, I fish as a co-angler. I haven't fished with Wesley yet. I fish with a lot of them. And, everybody always would say to me, well, when are you going to go pro, or and I'd say, you know what, I don't have any aspiration to go pro because, my goals were different, and I love to fish. And what I was recognizing was a lot of my friends that I came up with, because it's so demanding and so competitive, that the fun times that we used to have when they were coming up, they weren't having fun anymore, because they were having to fish for a check, and that puts a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. And I love what you're doing and what you recognize, because you're positioning Wesley in a position where he can do what he loves and just go out there and fish and swing for the fences and not have to worry about getting a check. And I think personally, I just think that's huge. And I'm pretty sure Wesley appreciates that, because I've been in the boat, guys. And as a co-angler, I get it more so than most co-anglers get it. I hang with these co-anglers, and they're the night before talking about how they're going to kick their pro's butt and stuff like that. And I'm like, really, dude? I'm just happy to be in the boat and maybe have a great day and learn some tips. And I'm like, you're going to have a long day if you think you're going to kick your pro's butt. But, I know what that's like, and I've seen the stress, of when they have the hard days. And so I commend you for that. Now, Wesley, what would you say, to these anglers that are coming up that want to be pro? What would you say if you would give them one or two, tips that you've seen makes a big difference because these new guys coming in, these young guys?
Well, the biggest the biggest tip that I can get is, the biggest tip I can give is, you really got to be passionate about something to obtain it. You'll never see anybody successful that doesn't have a passion for what they do or love what they do. So you better make sure that you're dedicated and you're passionate about what you want to do. And you have to set you a goal, and you have to obtain that goal. And if there's any doubt in your mind that you're going to obtain that goal, you're not going to reach it. So it's dedication. That's what it takes in this sport, is dedication. And you have to, it's just like any other thing in life. You have to dedicate time to it. You have to be passionate about it to be able to succeed. So if you come in with it with, well, I'm going to just try this for a year, and if I make it, I make it. If I don't, you're not going to make it. You have to be full-fledged, 100%. This is what I'm going to do, and nobody's going to stop me. And you got to have the right mindset. And if you got the good Lord on your side, it's another big positive thing, because I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for Jesus Christ, my Savior, and His Father. That's a big part of my life. It always has been, and I would not be where I'm at without His guidance and His guidance in my life.
Amen. I appreciate you saying that, Wesley, because I'm the same. Everything I give thanks to my Lord and Savior. But I just did a post over Christmas, and it was one of my ranting posts. Every now and then I do Facebook Live every day, but every now and then I do what I call a Facebook rant. And I just got pissed, for lack of better words, because all these people kept coming up to me going, happy holidays, and whatever. But what pissed me off was when somebody would say happy holidays to me, and I would say Merry Christmas back, and then they turn around and say Merry Christmas. So it was like you're checking me because you're trying to be politically correct. And what I was really calling out, and I love that you're bold like that, is the Christians. I was like, dude, you don't be a Christian and stuff there, just checking people to be politically correct because you don't want to offend anybody. And I'm going off on a soapbox a little bit, but I'm sure because I say to people this, I don't want to offend anybody. But the one person I don't want to offend is my Lord and Savior. It's like, so I love you. I love you for that, brother. And
here's the great thing about it, Real. I'm not perfect. I struggle as a man, and every man does. We all have struggles. We all have demons we fight and we deal with. And the great thing about Jesus Christ is He didn't die for our accomplishments. He died for our failures. And that's not to say that I don't need to try to live right, which I try to every day, but His blood is the ransom that was paid for me, so that I might have eternal life. So if you don't know Him, you need to know Him. So I mean, I don't care to confess that to anybody. I mean, I know I'm where I'm at because of who he is. I mean, I don't know I don't know what holds tomorrow. I know, you know, and there's a verse in the Bible that tells you not to worry, and I can't give the exact scripture to it, but it says, you know, you can't gain another second in your life by worrying, and not to worry, because even God puts he feeds the sparrows and the lilies of the flowers, to not worry. So I base everything I got when I go fishing. I don't worry, because I know even if I don't catch a fish, I've already got the greatest prize that could ever be had. So that's how I live.
And that shines. Now that I hear you say that, Wesley, that's why you got that glow about you, buddy. And that's why you just have
that's the light in the background.
Yeah, the life too. Now listen, I'll share a funny story with you quick, and I want to pop over to Stephanie for a sec with a question. I just share two things. One, you hit on a really profound thing that you just said. I want to touch about I've been doing a lot of these interviews, common denominator, discipline, dedication, be passionate. I say the same thing in the acting world. I get so many people, I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor. I says, well, you better be passionate about being an actor, because if you're being an actor to be famous and rich, which is why most people want to be, you better forget that right now, because it's just like you say. But what you said was deep when you said so many people think, well, I'm just going to try it. And, this is another thing that our society has got sideways about. And as I look at you, a power couple, I just wanted to make sure people didn't miss that, because that goes right down to marriage. Here, while I'm in Hollywood now, people, well, let's get married, because if it don't work out, we're going to get a divorce. People aren't committed anymore. They're not committed. And you just got to be committed, certainly in marriage, but in your life, in your goals. And, I'll share a funny story with you, Wesley. I don't know if you knew this. If you remember way, way back when I first started fishing the FLW, I actually had on the number one spot where sponsors would want to be, I had Jesus as my sponsor. And how that came about was I was sitting, I was blessed. I was on General Hospital at the time. And so, I was very, very blessed at the time. I had all Loomis rods. I had all the top reels and all this, but I had no sponsors on my shirt. And I was sitting around in some cafe after the tournament day with a bunch of anglers, and they were all talking about their sponsor. And then they looked at me and they said, "Who's your sponsor?" And at first I didn't know what to say. And then I kind of just thought, I said, "Jesus is my sponsor," just off the top. And they go, "Yeah, right." And I was like, "No, really, he is." And that's why I started wearing that logo. And even as I started fishing as a co-angler, I wouldn't let sponsors have that place. And, I lost stuff because of it, but I wouldn't, I was like you, I got no problem with saying that, But Stephanie, what I want, because what I love what you're doing, and we talked about this too, we're getting deep on some subjects, but it's real. And that's what I do. I keep it real. Just like the acting world, as a soap opera actor, what is cool about a soap opera actor, you kind of have a 9-to-5 job. You're going to the same place every day. You're in the morning, you're out at night. So you can have a family life. You can have a real life. You get on the movie sets, you start doing movies or episodicals. It's tough, you're on the road, and no different than the angling world. These anglers are on the road so many days a year, and most of them are there without their wife. And we know unfortunately, what happens. There's divorce is high. I've heard of many anglers. I'm sure you know many stories, Wesley. I know several. The angler came home from a tournament. His house was empty. The wife was gone. She'd had enough. And so I love how you have recognized that. And not only just to build up Wesley, but what would you say to other women out there that, I don't know, how they could maybe be a better part of their husband's team, if you will? What, you know what I'm saying? Can you give some advice on that?
Well, I guess my advice would be to stay connected. It's so easy for a couple when they're not together, for one to start, you kind of do your thing and they kind of do theirs, and you drift. And it is hard being on the road. Wesley's gone. I mean, I think at one time he was gone nearly a whole month. You had 3 tournaments, back to back. And it's tough. I never realized when we got married what I had signed up for. I knew that he wanted to fish, but not to this extent. It does get easier, with him being on the road, but and it's hard, and especially when you got children, you can't just pick up and go. They have school, they have activities and things that they're involved in that, it's just not something you can do. It takes work. Grass isn't always greener on the other side, is what I like to say. You have to keep your own yard fertilized. And it's so easy to think that, well, you know what? People have this attitude today of they want these butterflies all the time. But we got to look at reality. And what reality is, if you don't take care of what you got, and manicure it and invest in it, it's going to get dull and it's going to fade and it's not going to be what it was in the beginning. So, and a lot of people want to jump out of that boat and jump into another boat because they want that feeling again, that bubbliness, that, what people think that they had in the beginning that they feel like they've lost. I feel like it's always going to be there. When two people join together, you join in that with the intent of commitment. You fell in love with each other to begin with. And as long as you take care of that, I believe, and are on the same team and on the same path, I believe it's achievable to keep that throughout a marriage. But I think it takes work from both parties. And it is hard. I don't sit here and sugarcoat it. There've been times I've not been happy about something. I'm sure Wesley's not been happy about something.
Never. I'm always happy.
I come from a family that my mom and dad did divorce. And I know what it was like to grow up in a broken home. Mm. And so that's not what I wanted for my life. So I just have more of an intent that I'm going to make it work. And that's a choice that I'm going to make. And when I said I do, that's what I meant. I didn't go into it half-heartedly. I love Wesley. I wouldn't take nothing for Wesley, And I'm happy where all this is going. Hey, I'm probably been the happiest the past 2 years that we probably have been since we've been working together.
I'll tell you what kind of wife she is, okay? This is how good a wife she is. She could have been the lead spokesperson for the group PETA. Now, this is the honest truth. She despised anything had to do with, I'm a big hunter. I mean, I'm sorry, but I am a big hunter. I bought her a bow, 3 years ago?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
About 3 years ago. And I said, why don't you start doing some stuff with me? I said, we never do anything like together that we never, like we went to movies and stuff like that, but we never done anything other than maybe going to the lake or something like that. Something together that didn't involve fishing or the water. So I talked to her, and so she got her bow, and she started shooting her bow, and she said, man, I really like shooting this bow. So she's a really good shot. So I talked her into going hunting. So she kills a deer. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? I don't understand this. I mean, she went from one way to the exact opposite. And that's how much she loves me and how much I love her. She went against everything that she just didn't agree with. But then when she saw, as a hunter, when she went hunting, she saw when she was trying to see the big buck or whatever, she gets all this adrenaline and like she said, I didn't understand it until I actually done it. And that's what that's the kind of give and take that we have. Like, I'll go do stuff with her. I haven't done a couples massage yet, but I don't think I'm up there yet for the couples massage. So, but I have done massages with her, but it's not couples massages. I haven't branched out that far yet.
That's all. Now I can't imagine, Wesley.
I'm sure Riel's had a couple massages.
No, I haven't done a couple massages yet, but I can't imagine you have a man massaging you. Do you, Wesley? No, that's what I thought. No, Wesley. No. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask a couple fishing questions for your fishing fans and me as well. So 40 top 10 finishes is nothing to laugh at. Anybody who understands the fishing world, that is quite, an accolade. Now, everybody, you know, has their own little mojo or mindset. So what's it, how do you prepare? What's it look like in Wesley's head the night before and the morning?
You don't want to go there.
Yeah.
You don't really want to go in there, but
Yeah.
you know, here's the thing. I mean, and I preach this everywhere I go, is if you can understand, like if you can get the whole grasp of shallow water fishing and understand it, and in fishing too, it's not always about catching the biggest fish. It's to make a living at fishing. It's about, you know, getting checks and going to the next one. But I mean, which I like to win. Don't get me wrong, but I've based my whole career on being that guy that's just consistent. And the way you do that is I understand shallow water. Like I feel like I know as good as anybody how to catch a keeper bass when I need to catch a keeper bass. I mean, and that's what I, you know, based my whole career on. Is I grew up, just like I said, I grew up in that John boat. You know, I didn't have a depth finder. I didn't have a trolling motor. I had a paddle, and I knew where every stump, every brush pile, every rock in the cove that we lived in, and I fished it every single day. So I knew in certain weather conditions and certain, you know, pre-frontal, post-frontal, I knew exactly what baits to throw, what baits not to throw, line sizes, you know. I knew every day where that rock was at, and I fished that rock every day. So I got the feel for it. And I try to explain this to people all the time. It's about being woods wise. It ain't about, and it ain't something you can read in a book. It ain't you can read about it, but until you take it and apply it in the outdoors and do it for yourself, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's about when certain things happen in nature, like the red buds coming out, or example, I know when the dogwoods are blooming, that I know the crappie and the bass are fixing to spawn, or they're actually spawning. And you don't get that just by reading in a book. You have to get it out. You have to see it, and you know, visually take that in, and it's hands. It's not just okay. I read about it. I YouTubed it. I watched the video on it. Yeah, of course, you know, YouTubing something helps you, you know, a certain technique or tying a knot or something like that. But the actual hands-on fishing part of it, and being able to, some people call it read the water. It's the same thing, just reading the water, knowing what to do at that moment and that time to catch that keeper bass that you need to have a limit, or knowing how to adjust on the fly when something happens. That's all, you know, stuff. It's all hands-on. There's no substitute for time on the water. And the more time you spend on the water, the more you get that feeling. And I've always trusted my gut instinct. If I'm say I'm running down the lake and I look over and I see a tree, my gut says, go fish that tree. I go fish that tree. I don't go past it and go, man, I wish you would have stopped fishing that tree. But 9 times out of 10, your gut instinct is right. So, you know, always follow your gut, and just, you know, be efficient at shallow water fishing, because if you're efficient at shallow water fishing, you know, with, you know, the little ranch units and stuff we have now, I mean, you can go out there and find those fish, and you can tinker around until you can figure out how to catch them. But it's the shallow stuff that really gives people the most problems I see.
That's powerful, man. That is. Now, Wesley, I gotta ask, right? Because being a co-angler, and I've heard some nightmare funny stories. So, would you have one bad experience with a co-angler, or story about like that?
Well, I've got one, and dude, I love co-anglers. I've never had any issues with them, but was at Beaver Lake, and you know how a 4-pounder at Beaver Lake's like a 10-pounder. It's gold, like.
Yeah.
So I've got this 4-pounder on the bed, and this guy's in the boat with me, and I flip in there and I get it to bite, and I set the hook and I get it out toward the boat. Well, it comes off. I'm like, dang, that's what I pretty much thought I wasn't going to get another shot at. Well, I look back up and it swam right back to the bed. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get another shot at this. Well, I pick up my bait. It's over in a bunch of cedars. I pitch in there and I work it. I get to bite again. I set the hook. I get almost out of the cedars and it comes off again. I'm like, God, I said, I can't believe it. It come off again. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm getting ready to leave, and I look up and it's back on the bed again. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I said, I can't believe it. So work it. I mean, I'll make like 4 or 5 pitches to it, and it bites again. And I set the hook, and I bring it out of the brush. I got it out in open water, and it's green. And I swing over, and my co-angler grabs the net. I said, all right, get him. Well, he's got the net, a 6-foot net by the handle with one hand, and he's trying to poke it under the fish.
God.
And then finally, he can't get it under the fish, so he just reaches out and grabs my line and picks the fish up out of the water and still trying to stick the net underneath it. And I'm sitting here, I can't pull the fish from my rod to get it on into the boat because he's got my line. Well, needless to say, the fish comes off.
Oh.
And I had me a good Strader meltdown, and that's probably the only time that I've ever been that mad, I'd say, in my life at a co-angler, and I didn't curse or anything like that, but I think I made him feel really bad, and I really felt bad at the end of the day because I should have just swung the fish in, not relied on him to get it. But that's probably the worst horror story I got about co-anglers that there is. So that's not really that bad, but it's still.
No, I've been.
Yeah, it was a $10,000 check that just fell off the line. So, you know.
And I've been on Beaver Lake, so you're right. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. Do you remember, I don't think he fishes anymore, but he's not at your level, but he did fish the pro side. Do you remember a guy named Russ Moran? Did you ever meet Russ Moran?
Oh, yeah, Soup Ken Moran.
Yeah. I'll tell you funny. And if you know Russ Moran, you know this is because he's fishing with, and they're throwing the wiggle wart, that 57 or 58, whatever that one that people try to collect and that's popular on Beaver Lake. So, and when they're on that bite, you know how you line that boat up and you're basically right up against the bank and you're just throwing down the front. The co-angler just might as well sit down and have a sandwich. But he says, so he's got this co-angler he's fishing like this, and this co-angler from the back of the boat is throwing over his line from the back of the boat. And Russ looks back at him, and he goes like this, and then he goes, you do that again, and I'm going to cut your line. And so he goes back to fishing, and this guy throws over his line again. Russ reaches down without missing a beat, picks up a pair of scissors, cuts his off, hands him back his lure, and goes back to fishing. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, these guys is crazy. But listen, guys, I could talk to you all night long, guys, and I really appreciate your time, and I love you guys. I am so proud of you, what you stand for as a couple, how you represent the Lord and Savior Jesus, how you represent the sport of fishing. But I want you to take a second, Stephanie, Wesley, how can your fans follow you? How can they connect with you, give you a chance to talk about your sponsors? I know that's very important. Give them some props, and, this is a great, go ahead, and this is your time.
Well, you can follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. StraderFish.com, Wes has a website as well. But the best thing is look us up on WesleyStraderFishing.com. And, like the page. We make several posts. Feel free to comment. We do several giveaways throughout the year.
We do a lot of giveaways throughout the year. We just got done doing like the 12 days of Christmas. We gave away some great stuff, some great sponsors. And, hey, if you look me up on Facebook and it ain't this pretty face with a fish or something, it probably ain't me. So just keep searching.
Oh, yeah, I have some of those. Well, listen, though, I was talking to Stephanie. She told me, and I love you. She's very smart. I think you know that, your wife. She gets it, the importance of branding and building, just not just go out there and fishing. But she told me she's getting ready to get you with a six-pack and rocking some abs out there on the boat with no shirt. She didn't tell you that yet?
I can do that right now. I can hold a six-pack right here and take my shirt off.
That would be the only way that you would get a six-pack out of him right now.
That's easy. That's easy. I just stick the six-pack up right here, take my shirt off, and there you go, six-pack and shirt off.
Oh, man.
We might spray some on there. Can we spray you some abs?
I want to know if I can be an extra on General Hospital. He's not
on General Hospital. Now we're Days of Our Lives. My favorite soap, by the way.
Days of Our Lives. I want to be an extra.
Days of Our Life. Hey, you know what? We'll have to see if we can make that happen. You'd be awesome. They'd be blessed to have you on that show. They wouldn't know what to do with you. But, well, listen. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm going to count it out. You can count it out with me if you want. We'll just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom.
Boom.